I really do not need a new putter. I'm very happy with the Pures that I've been throwing for the last couple of years, but I'm also a disc reviewer on YouTube, so I'm always buying new plastic. And today, I have 3 pairs of brand new molds, kind of, and I'll explain that in a second, to show today. And I'm going to be splitting this into 3 videos. The first video I'm going to be showing is actually probably going to be my new putter, and that is the Latitude 64 Peak, both in the medium soft and the Royal Grand plastic. I also have in here the brand new from Latitude 64 Sinus and the old Sinus. Check out that video when it's published and you'll see what I'm talking about. But today, in this video, I'm checking out something brand new, and that is the new Prototype Putter from Ricky Wysocki from Discraft. All right, so let's get some putts on those. So I set myself up at 15 feet here just to make some easy putts. These are almost impossible to miss from this distance, but it gives me a good idea of the feeling of this putter. This is a tall putter, and I'm not a big fan of the tall putter. Right now, I'm putting with Pures, and they're, in my estimation, they're quite shallow. But this is a very tall putter, more like a P2. And so I'm not a huge fan of the height of this thing, but I do like the bead. So this has a bead on it and a very blunt edge. And it's in this silky soft plastic. I'll have to look up what the plastic is and post it below. These are both in 173 to 174. Again, for putting, I'm not that concerned about weight. It's more about the feel for me. And my finger just naturally wants to gravitate to where that bead is. And I think that helps me with better finger positioning so that I'm not putting my finger kind of up higher than it should be. My index finger is kind of down on that bead, so when I follow through on my putt, it's out of the way a little bit. So you can see as well, I'm also trying to add a little bit more pop to my putts. Obviously from 15 feet, that's easy enough to do. Oh, of course, the problem with hitting the pop is that you hit the chains. There's a path right into the post there. Okay, back to 20 feet. So I'm going to have to put a little bit more on it to get it there. Very nice. Oh, I like that a lot. Again, I think I might be in the wrong spot here. I just keep hitting that post. This is one of the first discs that Ricky got when he signed with Discraft. Whoa, that was a terrible putt. And Ricky is known to be a really amazing putter. He's got that high release, kind of like this, and floats at the basket. So these are quite glidey. Once we get out in the field, we'll see how they throw. Back up to 25 feet. I'm gonna have to straddle this log. So at 25 feet, I should be able to put a bit more pop on it and see if it's got that glide. Absolutely. Whoa, too much. That was a bad throw. That had nothing to do with the glide. Ooh, terrible. So as you start to power up on it, kind of the characteristics of the disc really start to come out. And it doesn't have a ton of fade to it. It's a fairly straight putter from 25 feet with a little bit more oomph. It's nice and straight. So you don't have to compensate for that when you're putting. You don't have to start it out right, aim for the right side chains and it falls in. You just aim straight at the middle of that. And I'm kind of aiming dead at the center of the basket. And it just holds that. Maybe a little more welly. There we go. Even on that slight hyzer, it still pushed forward quite a bit. It didn't want to fade out when I released it with a bit of hyzer. Back to 20 feet here. Nice. Yeah, I really like the feel of this putter. I want to talk a bit about the feel of the plastic. It is very, very silky. I wouldn't say it's got a ton of grip. But this raptor skin texture on the top gives a nice kind of feeling to it. And the way that they've stamped it, the edge of the raptor skin it almost feels like a bit of a ring, like a raised ring almost. So my thumb instinctively knows where to be. And the green one, the raised edge from the stamp is a little bit different. It's not quite as pronounced as it is on the pink one. And that raptor skin stamp gives it a little bit more grip, whereas on the edge there, it's quite silky and slick. When you got your thumb on that raptor skin, there's still quite a bit of grip there. All right, that's some great putts. I'm really happy with how that feels. Let's head out in the field and look at the stability of the disc. Here we are at hole 13, and we're going to throw. I set myself up about 210 feet away, and we're going to give these Ricky Proto putters a little bit of a rip. Now, I didn't see any published flight numbers on it. I think everybody's got their own guesses. What I saw was 2502. So, and even Discraft on their site, they call it overstable. So let's see just how overstable it is. Let's just try to put this flat. Boy, it held that line. Hope that stayed in frame. That went up really high. Held the line, a little bit more stable at the end. Lots of glide out of both of those. So I gotta say, I'm not seeing the overstability that they say is in this disc. That pink one that I threw super high, you would have thought if it was overstable, it would have just completely hyzered out at the end there, and it didn't. It held that line even though it went up nice and high, and it had a little bit of nose up on it as well. Let's try to put these on a little bit of a hyzer and see how they hold a hyzer line. We throw it a little bit to the right so we don't end up in the creek. There you go. Nice, reliable hyzer. The tiniest little bit of flip up there. And that held a hyzer for sure. So a little bit more hyzer on it, and it'll hold that line perfectly. And both of those are almost parked. So fantastic. I think what you have there is a really super shapeable disc. If I were to put that on an anhyzer, I bet you would hold it pretty good. Let's try that. Go up a little bit higher too. And that high anhyzer, see it if it'll fight out. Just like that. Not a lot of flight. It panned out beautifully though, man. Is this gonna wind up in my bag? Like, that's amazing. It held that perfectly and just panned right out. It didn't really fight out a lot, but you could see that it was just working itself to flat. So nice. It's almost exactly the same line. And just beautiful. Wow. Oh. Do I want to put more putters in my bag? That is something else. I love how that flies. All right, let's go down. We'll pick them up and we'll wrap up the video. I wasn't intending to actually look at this as a will this disc make my bag video. And to be honest, looking back in the bag right now, I don't think that this has a place, mostly because I've got several throwing putters right now. I've got my Proxy for understability, I've got the Range for dead straight, and then I've got this Prism Proton Soft Envy that I use for overstable as well. So, and of course there's the Zone for if I want something super overstable. But I gotta say, Discraft, you have an absolute winner on your hands with this putter. Look at these. One is parked and the other is 12 feet away. So thanks for joining me here. This is one of the 3 putter videos that I'm putting together. So look out for the other 2. They'll be coming up soon if they haven't already been published. And, you know, get out there and practice your putting. You know, I haven't been bugging you guys about that a lot lately, but you really should. I've got a big tournament coming up tomorrow, and you can bet after I'm done this, I'm definitely going to go home and I'm going to be practicing my putting. So we'll see you next time here on Greybeard Disc Golf.